So there are 5 pillars: plan, intention, identity, performance, and structure. So they all weave in together. They are all interlinked. So the first one is plan. So just being really clear on your outcome, mapping in your steps, identifying what resources you need. So I've just spent an hour and a half with my coach and group of other coaches thinking about the last 90 days and focusing on the next 90 days. What do we want from our business? What do we want our days to look like? How do we want to show up for our clients? All really important questions and all part of the planning. So the planning is really important. With my background in the police, planning was part of it, but we were very good at being reactive. And as a business owner, we need to be reactive, but we also need to be proactive and make sure that we plan as well. Second one is intention. We need to make sure that we are aligning our actions with our purpose, with our values, and with that longer term vision. So we might talk in waves of 90 days as a business owner, but we also need to have that direction. We need to know where we're going. So whilst we might break it down into the blocks of the 90 days to help us to plan and move forward, we do need that bigger vision to know what direction we are going in. The third one is identity. For those of you who've read books like James Clear's Atomic Habits, they talk about embodying the habits and the mindsets and the behaviors of somebody who is successful in what we are trying to achieve. So in coaching, we call it mirroring excellence. So we look at who is already able to do what we want to do, and we look at the difference that makes the difference. What is it that they do that we are not yet doing? Or perhaps what is it that they don't do that we are doing that we need to stop doing? What is already working in one area of life, and apply the same principles and perhaps the same plan to that other area of life. And then we can bring that forward and we can act as if that has already happened. So we can very intentionally show up every day and embody the habits, the mindsets, and the behaviors of the person who is already successful. Number 4 is performance. All of us will have very individual needs as to what feeds into us being able to perform at a high level. So for people in leadership, understanding what each individual within their teams needs to perform at a high level, it's going to be very different. So we need to understand what is it that we need to perform at that high level. And then we need to be able to identify what can we be consistent with, where might we need to build up some resilience to help us to be more consistent, where might we need to work on our confidence and our mindset to be able to show up to that and at that high level, and where do we need to be more disciplined. And then the 5th pillar is structure. So this is the one that holds it all together. So we have identified what we want to do through the plan. We've identified how we're going to show up with intention, making sure that it aligns with everything that's most important to us. We've worked out the identity that we need to be successful with this. And we've looked at the performance habits that we need to make it all happen. So now we need to create a structure that allows all of this to take place and protects it. So we've spent some time working out what is important. Now we need to make sure that we've got a system in place that has the routines, a system or systems and processes and boundaries to protect what we have identified is important.